So if you missed it, I want you to understand. I'm going to give it to you again. Here are some of the masks that we wear. We wear a mask. We wear a smile to mask our sadness. We wear joy to mask our grief. We may wear anger to mask our fear and our anxiety. We may wear a pride mask we may wear a pride mask to hide the lack of self-confidence and our insecurities. And we may wear a strength mask to hide our weaknesses. So I wanted to start with that just in case you didn't catch it in the last portion. How many of you have heard the phrase mask off? Well, the phrase mask off, it's a reference to taking off the facade and revealing the truth underneath. So you want to know, how do we learn to remove our masks when we have become so comfortable wearing them? Because if you remember in the beginning of the show, I had the mask on. And you remember when we had to wear the masks, it was very difficult for people to hear. You had to say, I'm sorry, say that again. I couldn't hear you. So it's easy for somebody to say, just take it off your ears and, move it so your mouth is open. But I'm here to tell you that taking the mask off that we've had on for so many years, however many years that may be for you, is very difficult. It may be very difficult to remove the very thing that you've become comfortable wearing. Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So how do you know yourself? Well, if you remember, I've said before, you have to get to a place where you figure out why you feel the way that you feel. Why do you act the way that you act? Why do you feel that you have to have a mask on? Something has happened that you haven't addressed. And because you haven't addressed it and you don't feel comfortable and you don't want anybody to know about it, what do? You put the mask on. And once you have that mask on, it becomes comfortable. You feel comfortable moving about, because when you have the mask on, it's not going to prompt somebody to ask you a question that you're going to have to address. Having the mask on is not going to you're not going to do something that is going to prompt somebody to ask you a question about why you have that mask on. And I think it happens far too many times. It has become comfortable before the pandemic to have the mask. It was comfortable for you to cover up your feelings of hurt. It was comfortable to cover your feelings of weakness with being strong. Doing some research and having conversations with people, it has made me to believe that it's easier to mask up than it is to mask off. It's easier to mask up than it is to mask off. Because when you mask up, you're covering up the hurt. When you mask up, you don't have to deal with what's going on. And if you don't have anybody in your corner that you can talk to, if you don't talk to a professional about what's going on, you're going to continue to do the same things that you've been doing. And if you continue to do the same things that you've always done, you'll continue to get the same results that you've always gotten. That's a updated version of insanity. And with Mental Health Awareness Month, for the month of May, I really tried to bring awareness to the mental health issues that plague men, namely depression and anxiety. I've said it before, men just want to be seen as men. At the end of the day, a man just wants to be seen as a man. He doesn't want to be seen as his problems. He doesn't want to be seen as the baby daddy. He doesn't want to be seen as the criminal. He doesn't want to be seen as the whatever role, whatever thing, whatever you think of when you think of a man, whether black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever you think, a man just wants to be seen as a man. When I was in Dallas at the men's summit, it was an awesome experience just to be in the room of between 4,000 and 5,000 men of all different likenesses, colors, creeds, nationalities, however you want to put it. And there was one goal, and that goal wasn't to judge the person next to you. That one goal was to praise, release, receive some healing from other spiritually godly men in the building. I don't know about you. I don't know when the last time you was in a room full of 4,000 to 5,000 men and there wasn't no shenanigans. No cops had to be called. Now, they had security there, but they got paid for nothing because there weren't any issues. So it's possible for men to be around other men and feel comfortable praising and worshiping. It's possible. We just have to get to a place where we feel comfortable to mask off. I mean, I've talked about it before, and I think in my last show I mentioned, I had two groups of men. One of the groups, I thought I felt comfortable, and I thought that I felt comfortable and I shared some things, and I didn't get a response. Now, that may be because I set expectations for myself based upon the reason for the group. But I shared some things, didn't get a response, and I don't know about you. And I'm going to continue to say it until it sinks in. But if a man shares and a man doesn't get a response, depending on the level of what it is that he shared, we become withdrawn. A withdrawn man is not going to, it'll take a very long time before he feels comfortable reaching out again. So I did just that. Pandemic hit, found another group of men. This time, it was, strangely enough, the group of men were on the West Coast. And I was very reluctant to even going on the group, joining the group, seeing what the group was about, but it was the best experience possible. And for 15 months after I said yes, it was great because I knew, if nothing else, once a week at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for an hour and 15 minutes, I was seen just as Oliver. Not as anything that anybody has said about me before, just as Oliver. And whomever was in the group felt comfortable to, when something wasn't right with this, to call it out. That's the type of group you need to get around. That's how you learn how to remove the mask. That's knowing, as Aristotle said, knowing yourself is beginning of all wisdom. You have to know you. You have to know your triggers. You have to know and understand that all men need a man. The mask that we have on, it has to come off. And in order for that mask to come off, and stay off, we have to get to a place where we address the inner hurts, the inner disappointments, the dad not being around, your daddy issues, like you name it. We just have to get to a place where we feel comfortable talking about those things outwardly. Because the more that we keep them bottled up, It's just another layer. It's just another mask that we're going to eventually have to take off. And I know from personal experience, the longer that you take to address the issue, the harder it is to take the mask off. It's not as simple as just taking the mask off of your ears. Once you put it on, it's not just that simple, taking it off of your ears and putting it down so people can hear you. You have been in a place for a very long time where you haven't felt like that you were heard. You've been hurt. You felt abandoned, and the list goes on. And you haven't gotten around, you haven't felt that you are worthy of all of these things to get the release that you need to get the healing that's waiting for you. So, here are some things on how to remove the mask. One, I went into it just a little bit. Get to know yourself. Wearing that metaphorical mask keeps us out of touch with our own feelings and our authentic selves. Because we've had this mask on for so long, we really don't know who we are. We don't know what we like. We don't know what we can do. We have an idea, but we have so many things, so many layers that we have to get through. It's kind of difficult to know if those things, if that thing, if that is who we really are, because it's been so long before we've addressed who it is that we are. So number 2, explore and process your emotional history. These all kind of go together. Now, understand this. In order to take the mask off, you have to do some work. And I don't say any of these things lightly. I don't say any of these things because it's something that I read or heard or no. I've begun to do the work. I'm still in the process of working, but I understand. Y'all have heard me before. I think it clicked for me when my wife and I were, we were going through some issues, and she asked the pivotal question, what's the root cause of why you do the things that you do? And, that was a stinger. That stung. It did. Because in that moment, I realized that I needed to go a little bit deeper and not provide that same stupid surface answer that I have always given as to why I've done the things that I've always done. You have to try to understand why you may express or not express your emotions. Because there's a reason why you respond the way that you respond. 9 times out of 10, it stems back from your childhood. Sorry, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but 9 times out of 10, it stems from back in your childhood. Why did I respond the way that I responded to my dad? It stems back from my childhood. Sorry. Number 3, you need to find a safe and trusted person with whom you can be real and transparent. Let me say it again and slow it down. Number 3, you need to find a safe and trusted person with whom you can feel real. You can be real and transparent with. Understand this. What I'll tell you from personal experience is when you can find somebody that you can talk to, you'll be able to process a whole lot more about your past than you would if you're talking to your homie Tyrone or Mark or Timmy or Tommy or Tony. You have to get with a person or people that allow you to feel. You have to get with a person or people that won't let you wallow in your ugh when you're having a pity party moment. But in the same vein, they're real with you. And I don't know about you, men, women, when I know for me, when I feel that the person that I am talking to is real, it allows me, it shows me, it gives me the understanding, the feeling that I can move a little bit further in that relationship. Now, I do the tester thing where I just give you a little bit to see what you're going to do with it. But you whatever you need to do to get to that place, I'm gonna need you to get to that place. So that person may look like a friend that you've known, that holds you accountable, that's not scared of you. It may be a family member. Some shy away from that because it may bring up past family issues. Some may be a therapist or a counselor, who can, who you can take this journey with, because the ultimate goal in this process is for you to get to a place where you feel like you can demask and grow to be the person, as I've said before, that you've been put here to be. I was telling my wife today, some of the things we get caught up on the goal and we miss the journey. Understand that some of the things that you've gone through, necessarily, yes, you've gone through them, but there's somebody else that you may come in contact with that may need to hear what it is that you've gone through and how you've overcome it. But I think we miss that, and we get so caught up on I did this and now I have this. But it was the journey that got you from point A to point B. It was the journey that got you through school. It was the journey that got you through your rocky marriage. It was the journey that got you through bankruptcy, or whatever the case may be. It was the journey. Number 4, be willing to take risks. This is a reflective process. It'll require you to have a leap of faith as you're learning to remove the mask, as you're learning to remove the barriers. Because the barriers have been what has allowed you to feel comfortable to have had that mask on for as long as you've had that mask on. And again, like I said, a lot of the things that we cover up are the things that were, one, passed down from our parents, and 2, comes from the comparison to someone or something. I don't know about you, but there was a point in time that I wouldn't be happy for nobody. And I wasn't happy because it wasn't happening to me. But I wasn't happy for them because I had a mask on. And I tell this story often. I'm in my 40s, and I can remember when I believe that I've always heard that, my facial expressions tell it all. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. And yeah, I'll agree. I won't disagree. But over a period of time, I had to get to a place where I realized that the more that I knew about me, and the further back that I went, the deeper that I went as to why it is that I've done some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I've said, is because of some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I've been through. But I never had anybody to sit down and tell me how to deal with my facial expressions. I had a whole lot of people to tell me that I wore them on my sleeve, and you could tell when I was mad, happy, sad, or what have you. But very few people, really none, have sat down to say, let's look at that. Maybe this. Now, a couple people have come along the way, but when you're trying to help a person, word of advice, when you're trying to help a person through their demasking process, don't show up and then leave. It's a real sucky feeling. Don't start the process and then leave because the person got on your nerves or they didn't respond the way that you wanted them to respond. I'm guilty of it. I'm very straightforward and to the point, to a degree, depending on the situation. And if it doesn't go, there was a point in time if it didn't go my way. There's a point in time where if it didn't go my way, I ain't gonna be a part of it. But you know what? I can tell you that when I was growing up and I lived in the projects because I was the only child and I was spoiled, that when they didn't pick me, guess what I did? I got in my feelings. I took my ball and went in the house. And because nobody told me that that wasn't right, they talked about me, but nobody told me another way to deal with that. I just took that. Prime example, I took that into my teenage 20s, 30s, 40s. Now, I understand it more now, but it took a very long time for somebody to be like, dog, you can't take your ball in the house and run every time it doesn't go your way. You are not that serious. You are not that important in that particular situation. So I give that example for you to understand that a lot of the things that we deal with as bona fide adults are things that we didn't deal with when we were bona fide kids. That prime example. But if you don't take the time to understand that about a person, you will only see it from one side. If you don't take the time to have a conversation with them about why they do the things that they do, you're going to continue to add to the mask, those barriers that they put up, because you look like everybody else. You sound like everybody else. And then we spend time trying to decipher and decode, oh boy, this is what happened the last time. He gonna do this. And not working through and not figuring out how they can help me. But it's a two-way street. Man, I'm going to say this. In order to grow, you're going to have to do some things outside your comfort zone. Seeds don't bear fruit based upon being comfortable. They don't. They're comfortable being seeds. They're uncomfortable when they are pressed to come outside of their comfort zone and grow. I hope that I've said something that just makes you think. I hope that I've said something that you can take away. You can listen to again. You can, I mean, even if, you want to bring me in and speak to your group, I hope that I've said something that has resonated with you. And with that said, I cannot leave you without telling you this. Deal with your daddy issues today. Otherwise, they will deal with you tomorrow. Talk soon. Peace.